Hello and welcome to the Pleasurepreneur podcast. This podcast will help you create what you desire in your business with pleasure, whether that be calling in your ideal clients, making more money, or creating a balanced business life blend. I'm your host, Regan, pleasure and business coach, published author of A Mother's Pleasure, wife and mama to 3 little wildlings. However you're choosing to listen to this podcast, ask yourself, how can I make this more pleasurable? And do just that. I acknowledge the custodians of the land on which this podcast is recorded and produced, the Wadi Wadi people of Dharawal land. Now, let's proceed with pleasure. Okay, guys, I can't believe it is this time of year when I am reviewing the year that has been. Look, currently it is December 5, so there's plenty of juice left in this month, but I wanted to get organized, which is a highlight of this year for me. I've gotten so much more organized. I wanted to get organized and have some podcast episodes done ahead of time. Yay for me. And also too, I'm going to a Christmas party today with a bunch of local women in business, which is really exciting for me because for many years I was a stay-at-home mum with my 3 kids. So there was no Christmas parties for me then. And then of course, as a business owner, a solopreneur, it would be a pretty lame business. Actually, no, I think I'd have lots of fun with myself. But look, I'm not hosting my own Christmas party. So I'm really excited today to go to this Christmas party and let my hair down and celebrate the year that's been. And so I thought it would be so perfect to take this time before I start getting dressed and ready and putting on my makeup and the music and to just review the year that's been and to record it and share it with you guys and have it be something that I hope gives you some really great insight into how I run my business and see what's possible for you as a pleasurepreneur as well. So let us dive in. I was thinking do I do like the highlights, the lowlights, the lessons? I don't know. Like, what are we doing first? Like the whole idea about a shit sandwich. Apparently, if you're giving someone like bad feedback or any kind of feedback, you're supposed to start with like the positives first and then you chuck in the shit stuff and then the positive at the end. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Even though this is not about bad feedback, it was a really fucking great year. I was like, should we finish on a high? So look, I've got the good, the bad, the beautiful. I also want to give you some context, a little bit of behind the scenes of what that looks like for me to run my business, just so you've got a very transparent view of like what it looks like for me running my business, matching the results with that. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to start there, which is I really just want to talk about kind of the hours that I work, the support that I've got, and then let's dive in with, we'll dive in with some of the fun stuff first, I reckon. So I will work 10 to 15 hours a week. I have 3 days a week when my kids are at school or preschool 9 till 3. And in saying that, I'm not sitting down working that whole time. I am making sure my calendar is clear until at least 11 o'clock so that I can go for a surf if it's good. If it is good, I'm going to embrace it. If it's not, I'll probably come back and record a podcast or write up an email or do some content. So I have that childcare support. I have those hours to myself. That was not something that I had a few years, even like 2 years ago in my business. Even last year, my daughter didn't start preschool until this year. So yeah, know that some of these results have been created because I have childcare, because I have support. I also have professional support in my business too, which I will actually share as part of one of my wins for this year. So it was probably 18 months or 2 years that I wanted a VA for. And it felt really stretchy and scary, kind of like investing in coaching because it's something that's going to help your business, but also it's a bit uncertain. And then it's oh, but I know then I have to I've got that responsibility to show up and come up with the money each month. So it felt like a bit of a stretch for me. It felt like, oh, I know this is going to be so helpful for me. And then also it was oh, how do I find the right one? So anyway, this year, an absolute win for me was hiring my VA, Jelan. She's incredible. I always say to her, oh my gosh, thank you so much. She's so efficient at what she does. And so that was a huge win for me. So I have her support for, a lot of the traditional admin type stuff. So she helps me with the podcast in terms of getting it from my producer. Shout out to my producer, Risco. He's also part of my team, my professional support team. So yeah, she'll, take the episodes, get them ready on my podcast platforms, draft out emails for me, help to update my web pages and add in wait lists, links and things like that. So she's been so great at supporting me. That has been an absolute win for me, not just because of the time that it has given me and the energy and the level of support, but also it's an identity shift to have somebody that's supporting you that you can then pass some of your work on to. It has been a really incredible identity shift for me this year. And I know I said, but support, and I want to kind of reaffirm that, because sometimes just knowing that someone is there to support you, even if you don't have work to pass to them, or even if you don't have, I'm thinking about coaching now, even if you don't have big challenges you want to work through, just knowing you've got that person there for support is such an incredible feeling. And it feels like it gives you personal power. It just feels so supportive. I can't find the right word apart from it just feels so supportive. It makes me feel really confident in myself to know I've got that support at hand. And of course, the other bit of support is my incredible coach, Beck Gazillo, who I've been working with all of this year. And yeah, it's again, part of having that support for me is the reason why I'm able to create some of the results I'm going to share with you. So I've got people that are supporting me at home. I've got people supporting me in my business. And that has started to grow and grow as my business has grown as well. So let's dive in. One of the things that I just did literally last night, I don't know, is this going to be a spoiler alert? No, I want to share it. I applied to be a speaker for TEDx Wollongong. I just immediately got sweaty palms saying that out loud. So fingers crossed I get it. I won't know for a month. So come maybe January, I might be sharing with you that I'm a TEDx speaker. Cannot wait. I already know what I want to wear. So fingers crossed I get in, because anyway, I'm okay with feeling disappointment. So as I was filling in this application, it was asking about what kind of speaking have you done before? And then I remembered, oh, that's right. This year in March, I was a guest speaker on the panel at the Wollongong Women International Women's Day event. And that was such an incredible thing for me this year. It was so great because I literally have wanted to go to an International Women's Day event for 9 years. I've been home with all my kids for 9 years. And this was the first year that, oh my gosh, boys were at school, baby girl was at preschool. I can go. And not only could I go, but I was invited to speak on the panel. So that felt like such an incredible win for me, such an incredible feeling, So I did that. I just want to share my top sales month, which was just last month in November. That was a $27,000 sales month, which is always so exciting for me. Not the money anymore. It used to be exciting, but so exciting because that means that I know I've got in that particular month 3 more new clients who their businesses are going to change shape. Their lives are going to change shape. The way they feel in their body is going to change. They've got some life-changing results that are about to happen. So that's so exciting. And I think too, the financial results, the 3D physical financial results of what we end up getting in the bank is always such a lagging result from the inner growth that we have. So I just want to flag that, yes, that sounds amazing and I'm celebrating and it's so great, but I'm also celebrating obviously who I've needed to become to create that financial result. I'm also celebrating the trust I've had to have in myself and the months of this year where I had to really dig deep and practice failing, in quotations, with pleasure. If you've heard me talk about this before, this is something that I'm this is what will make you unstoppable in business, right? So there's a podcast episode actually I'll add in the show notes, and it's about becoming unstoppable in business, and it's about failing with pleasure. This year, I had some pretty funky times in my business, which we'll get to. But ultimately, the high sales month and the other sales months are a representation of my ability to trust myself, fail with pleasure, my inner growth, to follow what it is that I desire and to prioritize what brings me pleasure. So as I said, okay, International Women's Day, I talked about 20K sales month, most aligned, incredible clients. This has been such a major win for me this year Like the clients that I am attracting, the clients who are signing up to work with me, whether that is in my free experiences or my in-person immersions or my mastermind or coaching with me one-on-one, the people that have been in my world this year as clients have lit me the fuck up. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. These are exactly the kind of people I want to be working with, doing exactly the kind of work that I want to be doing. And it just is such a great affirmation for me to know that I am calling in the kind of people I want to work with, and that obviously the messaging is landing for the ideal clients. And that has been such a huge win for me this year. Talking about clients, I had almost 30 people apply for my free business audits I ran earlier in the year, which then ended up turning into one of my, like a really great asset for my business. I this year created the Pleasurepreneur Business Audit. So that is a free online audit that you can access. I'll pop a link to that in the show notes. So that was something that I created this year. I also did some dabbling with AI this year. One of my freebies was all about sharing with you my top pieces of content from one of my mastermind launches. That was over a $20,000 launch. So I shared 2 weeks worth of my top performing content, and then the clients got to use some AI prompts that I shared to recreate their own content with a similar fashion. So that was really cool. What else can I share with you? I've talked about how I've hired my excellent VA, and I'm working with Risco, my producer, on the podcast. And I'm also working with Beck Gazillo, my coach, which leads me into my next one that I'm celebrating. I got more organized this year, like so much more organized. I'm really good at, I think I mentioned this in one of the last podcasts, like I'm really good at flying by the seat of my pants. I'm really good at harnessing the creative surges that come to me. I'm really good at hyper-focusing on a creative idea or a desire or something that I want to achieve. And so that has worked for me for quite some time. And I wouldn't say that it's not working, but I just knew that at the end of last year that like, okay, I'm ready to make this process a little more excellent. You know, what can I start to actually get more organized with that doesn't change my creative process, but actually supports it, that doesn't change the kind of philosophy that I run my business with, but actually supports the feeling that I want to have from that philosophy, philosophy. Did I say that right? I think so. So yeah, getting more organized was an absolute win for me this year. For those of you who are creatives and artists and maybe the non-neurotypical let me say that again, and maybe the non-neurotypical folk amongst us, you'll know what I mean, right? Like it sometimes just can be so easy to continue that default pattern of winging it, flying by the seat of your pants, just letting the creative urges take over you. But then I've added on a whole new layer this year of being more organized where I can and having those structures and systems in place that do not stifle that creativity and that energy and that inspiration and that passion, but yeah, just really supports it. And then I'm going to share a couple of personal highlights from this year because I want you to know that the personal stuff matters just as much as the professional stuff matters and vice versa. And in fact, if you have the skills to cultivate achievements in your business with pleasure, you also then have the skill to cultivate achievements in your personal life with pleasure. And so I know for some people there has been a hesitation to let themselves succeed like they know they can because they fear of risking that kind of personal value. Whereas the way I've been growing, it just is all growing together. Does that make sense? That's not to say there's ups and downs, but it's all growing together, both my professional and my personal life. So this year we got 2 trips to Queensland. First ever trip, just me and Jake, my hubby, away after 9 years of parenting. We had 3 or 4 nights away. I think it was 4 nights away. We had 4 nights away on the Gold Coast at Coolangatta because we had a wedding and it was like so good. We surfed for hours. We walked, we ate croissants and drank coffee. We just had the best time together. 4 days together, uninterrupted by children, felt like 2 weeks. It was so good. And then just recently, only like a week ago, I got back from a few days away. I decided to treat myself to a few days again up on the Gold Coast. And I ended up staying with one of my very best friends who's had a new little baby. And I got to see two of my other closest best friends. And it was just so good. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Plus, I had this incredible photo shoot that wasn't even on the list, but now I'm remembering. That was an entire identity shifting, unapologetic, out of the box like experience for me. I feel like it shifted something in me on a, I want to say like, yes, on an energetic level, but also on like a biological level. Like I feel like I'm actually a different person now. It was so fun. And of course, I want to mention the time I've had with my kids. So one of the things that has been so great about my business growth and my financial success this year is that it allows me to be generous with my money. And part of that is making sure that I have one-on-one dates with my kids regularly, whether that's going for Nutella crepes or to the movies or to laser tag or whatever. I've been having a really good time with my kids this year. Especially I too, I think it might be because they're a little bit older. They're 9, 7, and almost 5 now, which is crazy to think about. It makes me really sad. But also it's so good. We're having such a great time. So I think those are all of my highlights from this year that I can think of. There'll be more that drop in later on, I'm sure. And I'll be like, damn it. Okay, I have a match made in heaven for you if you're so ready for big profit and big pleasure in 2026, but you're not quite sure how to make it happen. Well, I have two actually. Now, if your business is feeling harder than it should, if you feel as though your income isn't matching your effort, and you know that 2026 is meant to be a lot more pleasurable and more profitable, then the Pleasurepreneur Business Audit is for you. It is one of my favorite freebies. It is a private podcast and workbook. It's going to help you figure out exactly what's clogging up your profit, your pleasure, and your momentum. Make some tiny tweaks now that will make 2026 richer in all of the ways. You can literally knock it over in under an hour. The kinky linky I will pop down for you in the show notes. And if you want to go even deeper and have my support to implement these kind of things into your business, I want you to get inside the unoriginally titled Accelerator program. You'll finish up with not just an offer that you're obsessed with that actually fills your books and your bank account. You'll also have crystal clarity on who your dream client is, not just who you have called in the past, and how to call them in, and messaging that is so spot on, you become the mentor that they have to hire. Now, you will leave this Accelerator program with a pleasure-led sales plan. You will leave with on-point pricing that feels really fucking aligned for you, ethical biopsychology you can actually use, messaging that makes you the obvious choice, and of course, most importantly, a sense of excitement and momentum that you can feel in your body before you even start selling. We are not relying on external sales metrics to feel good and create momentum in 2026. Now, we kick off the Accelerator program on January 12. It's a fraction of my mentoring price. And again, check out the show notes for details, and let's make 2026 the year you are the badass that gives yourself the support and the results that you want. So yeah, it would be remiss of me to share the highlights without sharing the lows. This year in my business, maybe around like the middle of this year, was actually a pretty interesting period for me. I went from having this incredible high of a potential $30,000 month. It looked like it was going to be a $30,000 month, and it ended up being a $0 sales month. So it felt like a lot of rugs being pulled from underneath me one after another. And whilst I logically knew like it's fine and I wasn't taking it personally, and you know, I've done a really great job in the past with, you know, feeling disappointed or deflated or rejected even. I feel like that's too much of a strong word. But it was a really interesting experience because after that kind of high then low, it was like I was a soft shell crab. Have you heard anyone talk about that before? I was sharing this with one of my clients recently. So crabs, when they grow, they shed their hard exoskeleton, right? And they've got a new shell on underneath that's better fit for them, but it's still quite soft. It hasn't hardened up yet. So they need to kind of like hide away until their shell becomes harder, right? They're more vulnerable. And I felt like this was such an experience for me this year where I saw this potential that I had, and then it didn't eventuate And even though logically I was fine with that and I was happy to keep moving forward, it was like my nervous system was like big vulnerability hangover. Like, oh my gosh, we're growing, but it feels scary. And I'm a soft shell crab and I can't come out because, there could be predators, So I definitely had a pretty intense experience of that this year. In all honesty, I want to say, I think probably the intense parts lasted a few weeks, but probably the whole experience felt like a void of like 3 months where I actually started to not really feel inspired or motivated, which is actually really weird for me in my business. So I just saw it as a really great opportunity just to give myself what I needed, which was a lot of love and tenderness, but also to let myself walk the talk of letting myself fail with pleasure. My job during that time, now we don't know how long these things are going to last. In hindsight, if I knew it was going to be 3 months, I would have been sweet, no worries. That's no time at all, really. And the more we have these experiences, the faster we're able to recover. We just build our capacity in our nervous system for that. So that's the worst it's going to get, I feel. But yeah, I got to practice failing with pleasure. I got to practice feeling as though I was in the muck, in the messy middle, and really having to dig deep to find the enjoyment and the passion and the inspiration and the pleasure and the fun. And look, I don't know if you want to say it was like the contraction before the expansion or whatever, but since I have just almost naturally I want to say elevated. I'm imagining myself floating up into the sky. Since I kind of elevated myself from that experience, it's like I came out of my little shell. I came out of all the rocks in my little cave and I now have this harder shell. This analogy is not working really well because I don't have tougher skin. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is that I have tougher skin now. I don't know. But anyway, I've had the growth period. I've had the vulnerable period. I am now back out absolutely having the best time ever. And not only do I now realize that I'm so unstoppable, but I am unstoppable. I know that I can be hit with that again and it's fine, So a kind of not fun time also becomes a win. And I hate to be the person that's there's always a happy ending at the end, but it really did feel like I am steadfast and my methodology and my philosophy and my concepts all work. And thank goodness I let myself trust myself to follow that path, So here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want you to take away from this episode. Sometimes business can feel a bit shit. It can be a bit sucky. And sometimes it's going to be amazing. And I think the best thing I can offer you is an invitation to learn to find some kind of pleasure in it, or at the very least, amusement in it. Whether that is, the pleasure of actually self-care during those dips of the roller coaster, or finding something fun that you can do, or coming up with a whole new novel idea for your business that feels more enjoyable and more fun. I'm going to invite you just to know that pleasure can be the thing that will obviously, you're here listening to this, you've probably listened to some other episodes and you know now that pleasure is the thing that actually really activates your results, that really enhances your performance, that really, on a physiological level has you in your best performance in order to create the results that you want in your business. And also, it's the thing that can get you through the shitty times too. So I don't want to come on here and be like, oh my gosh, this year has been so amazing and pleasure is the answer. Because this year has been so amazing, but there were some not so amazing times in there, and pleasure is the answer. All right. Now, if there's anything that you are curious about that maybe I've shared today, or if there's anything more you want me to expand on or clarify for you, I am so happy to do that. I would love it if you asked me any questions that you had. Again, human design generator. I love responding. So if you've got any questions for me, if there's anything you want clarified or you want me to expand on something, please send me a DM on Instagram. I would love to share that with you. And here's to what's going to be happening next year, guys. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for next year. I cannot wait. The year is not done yet here. It's, as I said, the 5th of December. So we have got plenty of time. Who knows what December will bring? Maybe it'll be even a more incredible month than last year. Oh, I didn't mention either that my husband and I got an investment property just last week. We got our first investment property, signed contracts, deposits been paid. Fingers crossed that settlement comes mid-January. So yeah, another epic highlight from this year. So let's see what happens next year. If you know that you really want to start next year really clear on who it is that you want to be working with, on what it is that you want to be offering and selling and inviting your ideal clients into, and you want to get really clear and have some steps and some messaging around how to actually sell those offers to those ideal clients, I want you to consider joining me for the 3-week group container called the Accelerator Program. Look, it's not a very original name, I know, but I'm satisfied with it. I think this just goes to show this is not about like any kind of fluff about the name or whatever. We are going to get to work. We're going to have 3 weeks in January where you are going to get step by step as to like how to, as I said, like work out who your ideal client is, work out what your most pleasure-fueled, exciting, amazing offer is that you cannot wait to sell because you're so excited by it. And then you're going to get really clear on the precise messaging that your ideal clients are looking for to create the results that they want to create that you can help them with. Yeah. We begin January 12. I'll pop a link to that in the show notes. It goes until January 30. So you're going to finish the first month of next year clear as fuck and ready to go and knowing exactly how you start to call in more clients, make more money, create offerings and facilitate and deliver offerings that you absolutely love, that you just want to run and sell time and time again. You're going to feel so good about selling. You are going to be so happy like me at the end of the year, like, oh my gosh, I got to work with the most amazing people this year. I want you inside Accelerated Program. If that's talking to you, click the link in the show notes. Again, like you're welcome to send me a DM if you've got any questions. And I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to get ready for my party, for the Christmas party. Woohoo! All right, my loves, enjoy the rest of your day and you'll hear me back here soon. Bye for now.